week. What day are we on? Like day 7, day 5, all of the San Diego Beer Weeks. I hope you are having a great week celebrating all of San Diego craft beer. As always, I have my beer drinking partner in crime with me, Paul Segura, brewmaster from Karl Strauss. How you feeling, dude? How's your beer week treating you?
It's treating me okay. It's been a busy, long week. A lot of beer stuff going on, but I feel like I'm gaining momentum or something. I'm gaining more energy. Maybe it's the beer. I don't know. Or maybe it's that guy right there. I don't know.
I can't think of a better way to end San Diego Beer Week, the giant party that we've had, other than with Thr3e Punk Ales down in Chula Vista. Welcome, Steve and Kevin, owners of Thr3e Punk Ales. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having us. Salud.
Salud.
So we were in the tasting room last week, hanging out with you guys, checking out the board, and you have a great array of beers on right now. And we're starting out with Hops on a Plate. Tell me about it.
Hops on a Plate, as it relates to the style, is our Hoppy Hazy Pale Ale. It took us a while to jump into the hazy game, but I think when we jumped in now, we jumped in head first. We've had a lot of help with taking over this style. The last 2 beers we made that are hazy are our 2 Hectic that we brewed with South Norte, and then the Hops on a Plate, which we brewed with
Scotty, from formerly Alpine Scotty.
Ah.
So yeah, we decided to go full bore into the hazy game now.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if that guy behind you was actually going to talk. I'm glad that that he kind of chimed in there.
He's just there for added security.
Steve says I only get 5 sentences tonight.
Enough.
Nice job on this beer, man. I like this a lot. It's got all the flavors from like, you know, a 7%er, but it's only 5, so it's even like more drinkable. It's got all the fruit and all the tropical and all the beautiful stuff, except for the alcohol, which makes it more drinkable in my opinion.
It's a crushable hazy.
Yeah, what is it? It's a 5% hazy pale ale. Drink it, crush it. It's a good day.
And it's one of those beers that I know that Paul has always said we don't drink with our eyes, but this doesn't look like a super hazy beer at all. I mean, especially compared to some of the hazies that we've had on Beer for Breakfast.
It's not as chalky. It's not as chunky and cloudy. We focused more on the actual flavor profile than anything else. I mean, in all honesty, like Paul says, you don't drink with your eyes. If you close your eyes and drink this, you just want a nice little juicy flavor for beer, you know, and I think these guys killed it.
Okay.
I agree. And it's, you know, I understand yeast is part of the profile on a beer like this, but yeast messes with your gut. And if it doesn't have the yeast like this, I could drink more of it without having to go to like kombucha.
Easy. Look at you, kombucha. All of a sudden.
Saying.
The other cool part about this beer is it's modeled after like my favorite band of all time. It's called Millencolin. They're like a late 90s skate punk band from Sweden. And our artist that we work with, his name is Chula. I gave him the task of like kind of loosely paying homage to Hops on a Plate, Life on a Plate, my favorite album by Millencolin, and he killed it. Like if you guys get a chance to look at the actual Millencolin album, Life on a Plate, it's a perfect rendition of what we wanted to put forth, something epic to match the actual flavor of the beer.
I like how a lot more of your beer names, like over the last few years, are centered around punk or, you know, albums or songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're not pigeonholing ourselves to just like punk music. I mean, it's you got to remember we're in Chula Vista and the demographic we serve, it's mostly Mexican, you know? So it's like we do the best job we can, whether it's with like Flama Blanca, Flama Roja, Emo Brown, or we have a new beer coming out called Cheves de Nero. It's like we do that little dance of melding both of our cultures with the beer that we're producing and the brand that we're building. It's fun. It's a fun game to play.
It's true, right? You go to Thr3e Punk and there's a broad range of people there. which is like Chula Vista. It's just a big melting pot.
We love that, man. I mean, it's Chula Vista. It's the community that we're in. We've been here for 3 years, and we're home. You know, like me personally, I'm home. I mean, it's 3 blocks from where I live. I know Kevin's pining to move over here from the East County, but it's like, for me, this is home. I know what works down here as it relates to like the culture. There's no this, there's no that. It's South Bay as a whole.
I think what has been happening down on 3rd Avenue in Chula Vista over the last few years has been really huge. It's turned into one of the most awesome places to bounce around, drink, eat, hang out with people. And I think that you guys opening up there on 3rd Avenue was really helping bring it all together and open up more people to come in. You know, you had Groundswell open up across the street afterward, Balboa Burger down the street, Bar Sin Nombre next door. And I just want to cheers to you guys for really bringing a culture down to Chula Vista that I definitely had never experienced prior to meeting you guys and you guys going down there.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, with the help of like Chula Vista Brewery and 3rd Avenue Ale House, and even dive bars like the Manhattan or Elwood, but specifically like the La Bella, I feel like they were at the center of everything that kind of started everything down here. They've been around for over 65 years. It's really easy to make something like this work when the community has your back. You know, I always tell people, it's like, if you just do something that you're real with, that you actually believe in, you don't have to fake the funk, and you're not always having to like pivot and change and, oh, well, maybe this will work. Oh, well, maybe that'll work. It's like, no, we're from down here. So it's like, let's just be ourselves. This is what we do, and it'll all come together. So it's been a really easy transition. And this is all just like a microcosm, because even outbound of Chula Vista, it's like you got Machete and National City, you know, then you got like Hoppy Days further down south, and then you have Sanctum Ale House. So all of these places, it's like it has turned what was once a desert land of like not craft beer into something where people actually enjoy coming to, like you said, and spending time, you know?
3rd Avenue was like the land of quinceañera shops, man.
Oh,
you
it
know,
still is, Paul. It still is. Don't worry. We got a dress for you. It's all good.
And now there's actually some nightlife. Now there's like restaurant, and on top of like the cool beer places, there's restaurants that are opening up that are, you know, thriving and stuff down there.
Like if we had $1 for every time a company told us, don't go to Chula Vista. Why are you going to Chula Vista? Chula Vista, you'll never make it. Mexican people don't drink craft beer. Filipino people don't drink craft. Black people don't drink craft beer. Why are you guys going down there? It's not going to work out. It's going to be a failed project. And then the question that I would always ask in turn, it's like, are you from Chula Vista? And they're like, no. And it's like, then, yeah, you have no idea what goes on in Chula Vista. Paul, you're from Chula Vista. You're one of the OGs from Chula Vista. You went to Castle Park. That's like in the center part of like, just like in the epic, the Mecca part of Chula Vista. Like you're in the old school part of Chula Vista. People don't understand that it's a legitimate diversity, like melting pot of cultures down here. We drink craft beer. I hate to break it to you. And if you don't believe me, come down to 3rd Avenue and just check out all of the spots that are, you know, busy. Even during COVID, we're outside, we're flourishing, we're making it happen. But all of the establishments down here, we get each other's back, and we're making it work, you know? And it just bums me out that people still say, well, you know what, you should be open in North County. And it's like, that's not where we're from. You know, we're down here because this is what we know and this is what works for us.
It's nice not having to drive to other parts of town to go get good beer now. Also, that taco truck that you guys have parked out front, man, making epic tacos. I mean,
Tacos El Vaquero, man, he gets down. Yeah. Kevin inhales about 5 tacos a day.
He doesn't look like he eats enough tacos. Look at him.
I think Kevin's on a Quaalude right now. Kevin's in the zone, bro.
Well, I went ahead and poured the second beer that we're having, the Emo Brown. The smell of this is amazing.
Exactly. I can't wait to smell it with you.
This beer, along with Charming Stout, is one of my go-tos when I go there, because I like darker beers and they're smooth, man. This one's 8.1%, but it doesn't drink like it at all. It's suave.
This is one of those beers that Kevin and Ivan came up with, and it was just a mixture of like coffee, you know, from Oaxaca, and we have Mexican chocolate, chocolate Ibarra, and some added spices, and you know, it just worked. It just came together. It was one of those beers that we need on the board to balance our board out. Anytime I go to a brewery, I look for a brown. You know, I enjoy drinking browns. It's one of the first beers I had is like the Newcastle. You know, like Newcastle is one of those beers that when I was young and ignorant, I was like, oh, let me get a Newcastle. But it was for a reason. Like I enjoyed the flavor profile of that style of beer. That now when I go anywhere to drink, I'm like, I always kind of like just survey the board, and I'm like, okay, they have a brown, and I always start with the brown first, and then work my way from there. But no, these guys killed it, man. We've done a lot with the Emo Brown. I mean, from the Emo Brown, we created a podcast. From the Emo Brown, we created ice cream. You know, from the Emo Brown, it's like a clothing line. From it's just this thing was like one of those things that just kind of like springboarded into other things for us, and I'm super appreciative of this beer.
Can I ask you a question that a lot of people are wondering? Why are you the saddest Mexican?
Have you listened to our music? Like, have you listened to all the music that Mexicans listen to growing up, man? They're all like sad tales, like Vicente Fernandez or like Antonio Aguilar or Chalino. It's all like ballads, like sad ballads. And then like to top it off, we transition into like English music, and the music that we're drawn to is like the Cure or like the Smiths or Morrissey and like just like emo stuff, man. It's like as it relates to our music, it's just like sad novelas, and we enjoy it. Why? Because it leads to drinking. Why? Because it leads to food. So it's like it's the comfort food, comfort drinking, and just like a comfort music, man. You know better than that, Paul. You know where you're from. Stop playing.
I'm just asking, like people want to know.
That was a gotcha question.
So
I do want to give a shout out to your podcast, Emo Brown. Paul has been on there. There's been a lot of really awesome people across the city who have been guests on your show. Where can people find your podcast, and when does it come out?
Everywhere. I mean, I usually promote it through Spotify, but I put out about 2 or 3 episodes a week. Yeah, I've had Paul on there. I try not to do too beer oriented because there's nothing more annoying than a podcast that's just about like baseball, or a podcast that's just about like beer. So it's like I try to like shuffle the deck, but he's from the South Bay, and I mean, what am I gonna do? Not have Paul? One, he paid me $100. He's like, bro, you have to have me on. Everyone's asking me like, why aren't you on the Emo Brown podcast? And I said, all right, bro. So he's gonna take me surfing. He's gonna give me a tattoo, and he slipped me 100. And I said, okay, you're on.
So check out Paul's episode of Emo Brown Podcast and find out how all that ended up going.
4 shots in, he was doing great. I'll tell you this, Paul doesn't have a filter after 2 or 3 shots. Jesus Christ.
I know that. Oh, I know.
Oh, man. Do you know he speaks Spanish? I had no idea he spoke Spanish.
I had no idea.
no.
Do we find that out on the podcast? Yes.
Oh, look at, you'll have to tune in.
There it is. Where's the crossover? Emo Brown, this is a really, really awesome beer. Have you ever, well, you said you made ice cream with it. Who made that ice cream?
We reached out to a local ice cream shop here in National City called Thr3e. Thr3e has been around for decades. You know, they're a pillar of the National City community. They reached out. It was a mutual reaching out to each other. Like, hey, you know what? This would be like a killer flavor profile for an ice cream. They agreed. We linked up. We made some pints. We had a couple of weekends where we released it. It was awesome. I mean, people enjoyed it. So once it gets hot again and over the summer, we'll probably revisit it and do it all over again.
Awesome.
Kevin loves it. You can't tell, but he absolutely loves it. He takes home a gallon and a quart every week. And between him and his dog, they enjoy the Emo Brown ice cream. He's ashamed to look and say yes.
We do have the Emo Brown sitting in Liberty Call bourbon barrels right now.
Ooh.
So you say 8.1 is sneaky. This bad boy gets up to over 9%, and it's still sneaky because once it's in rum barrels, it just kind of gives it more of that sweet feel without being too boozy, without being too on that like higher end phenolic feel. So it's like once you taste it, you're like, oh, I'll have this, I'll have another. Pretty soon you're speaking Spanish like Paul and throwing up gang signs. Like, bro, take it easy. Take it easy.
I look forward to trying that.
Monday. So between this beer on oak in barrels and Putin on the Riz, man, you know, there's there's quite a good selection there. The beer board is pretty extensive there, and there's something for everybody on tap usually. Even Kevin's seltzer, that watermelon mint stuff.
Oh, the one that you were having oodles of with the chamoy and tahini rim? Stop playing, bro. I saw you had a straw and you were sipping it down. All of a sudden, you're turning your back on the Santiago. Look at you.
I'm not drinking. No.
Also,
I have pictures, bro. I have pictures.
Before we say goodbye to Steve and Kevin, give us an update on Thr3e Punk Ales. I know things are constantly changing, and I see you on the news from time to time giving an update on Chula Vista. But what's going on? What's operations looking like this time around?
Yeah, I don't know how I got tabbed like the street reporter, the beat reporter for Chula Vista, all things Third Avenue. But it's like our friends from like local news, like in Spanish and English, always pop in and they're like, "Hey man, do you want to talk about this?" I'm like, "About what?" I'm like, "All right, cool." Pandemic obviously threw us a curveball. You know, I mean, it was just a matter of taking a step back and realizing that we weren't. It wasn't a unique situation just for us. It was something that unfortunately took over not only this industry but all industries, all family, everything. So, two approaches you can take with anything in life is either one, you sit back and wait it out and kind of cross your arms and kind of like sit on your board and ride the wave in, or two, create your own path and make sure that you stay ahead of the game. We all have to dance to the but you just got to keep dancing. And that's something we definitely learned how to do in these last 8 months. We definitely learned how to dance, and we definitely feel that we're in a position to continue to grow. And that's where we are right now as it relates to the brand. We've been out and about looking for new locations to spread out to, and it's getting warm. It's getting close.
Ooh, that's exciting.
You just let out a little secret right there. That's
Yeah, I mean, legitimately, we've been trying for a while, but it's just things don't always, like, you can't put a square peg in a round hole. I mean, you can, but it's not very pretty. So we just kind of been waiting for the right opportunity, and we saw and we found, and we're closing in on one here in the South Bay. And as soon as we can legitimately, dot the I's and cross the T's, for sure you'll be the first to know.
Woo! You hear that, Brandon Hernandez? You hear that? Just kidding.
Who?
We love Brandon Hernandez at SD Beer News. Steve-O, Kevin from Thr3e Punk Ales, thank you so much for joining Paul and I for Beer for Breakfast ABV. It is San Diego Beer Week, and we would be remiss to not have you joining us this week in all San Diego craft beer. Remember, as customers, your dollars, they mean a lot to local businesses. These are the people making your beers. These are the people packaging them. Every dollar counts, and make sure that you just vote with your dollars, really, and help all of these local businesses here in San Diego succeed. So with that being said, happy San Diego Beer Week. Make sure that you tag all of your photos, hashtag SDBW, tag the Brewers Guild, SD Brewers, and tag us also. We like to see what you're doing out there, too. So with that being said, cheers to independently owned craft beer and radio in San Diego.
91X.